Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about solving and writing linear applications. And that's a weird word right here, applications. Essentially what that word applications means is that all we're doing is we're solving problems like normal, but we're throwing some other things at you. Let's take a look at number one to show you what that means. Number one, we have 3x plus 1 equals 19. Okay, that's an equation to solve. But what I want you to understand today is look out for the commas. So there's a comma right here, and it says then what is 6x minus 2? Well, essentially these are kind of two separate problems. It's asking you, what does 6x minus 2 equal? Just like I could ask you, what does x equal? I could then say, what does 6 times x minus 2 equal? So essentially what we have to do today is we have to solve our first equation and then take that number and plug it back in to see what the second part is. That's really all it is. We solve the first equation, plug it back in, get your second part. Keep an eye out for those commas. So what I'm going to do here is first I'm going to minus 1 to both sides. And I'm going to end up with 3x equals 18. And then I can divide both sides by 3. And I'm going to get an x equals 6. Now, it's very tempting to be like, hey, that's my answer, x equals 6. But unfortunately, that's not my answer. What I have to do is I have to take that x equals 6 and plug it in for that x there to find out what 6x minus 2 is, because that's what my question is asking for. Okay? So I'm going to take that 6 and I'm going to replace that x there with that 6. So we're going to go 6 times 6 minus 2. All right, of course, 6 times 6 is 36, and then 36 minus 2 is 34. So that would simplify to be just simply 34. All right, and then that is the answer to our question. Like I said, we're tempted to write 6, but we have to pay attention, make sure we're answering what the question is asking for. All right, let's take a look at number 2 here. Number 2, we have if 7y equals 3, what is the value of 21y over 9? Now guys, this is weird. We have this like fraction with the y on top being multiplied by something, but first things first, I first need to solve this equation, and then there's my comma, and then we're going to take that y and plug it in over here. So to solve this equation, I first need to divide both sides by 7. And that's going to leave me with y equals 3 over 7. And so we know what 1y is. But remember, guys, this question isn't asking me for what y equals. It's asking me for what 21y over 9 equals. And this is where it gets a little weird. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 3 over 7 and we're going to plug it in for that y right there. Okay? So I'm going to take that 3 over 7 and plug it in. So we're going to go 21 times 3 over 7 divided by 7. Now, if you're anything like me at one point in your life, and probably right now, you're struggling with fractions a little bit. Okay, and that's okay. I just want you to understand something important about fractions. Fractions are very simple once you understand this piece, and that is that a fraction, all you're doing is you're multiplying by the top number, you're dividing by the bottom number. And you can do those two things in either order, whichever one's easier. So like for this one, I'm multiplying by the top, I'm dividing by the bottom. Now, we all know that 21 divided by 7 is 3. So essentially, all we've got going on here, guys, okay, oh, my apologies, this isn't a 7, this is a 9. Let's go backwards a little bit. That should be a 9 there. Okay, so we're going to divide by 7, and then we're going to have, if I divide by 7, 21 divided by 7 is 3. So that's going to be 3 times what's left over, that 3 is. So we're 3 times 3 over 9. Well, 3 times 3 is, of course, 9, and then 9 divided by 9 is 1. So that's kind of an anticlimactic answer to our problem there, but that's how it worked out. We just got our answer of 1. Let's take a look at number 3 here. Number 3, it says, when half of a number is decreased by 7, the result is 8. What is the number? That one's kind of tough. So the second part of this lesson is really interpreting these word problems and making equations out of those. But the equations themselves aren't that difficult. We just have to understand what it is saying. So first off, half of a number. If I'm thinking half of a number, that means I'm dividing by 2. And my a number, I'm going to use x. So we're going to go x over 2. You could use whatever letter you want. I'm going to have x divided by 2 because that's half of my number. Decreased. Whenever you hear the word decreased, I hope you think of minus. So we're going to go x over 2 minus 7 equals 8. Okay? So we got x over 2 minus 7 equals 8. And now I can solve this. Just like we did yesterday, we're going to add 7 to both sides here. Okay? That's going to leave me with x over 2 equals 8 plus 7 is going to be 15. And then now, opposite of division, we're dividing by 2 is multiplication. We're going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2, and I'm going to multiply this side by 2. Now, of course, those two will cancel. We'll get 15 times 2 is 30. So I'll get an answer. What is the number? The number is 30. Let's take a look at number 4. It says when a certain number, hey, I'm going to use x again. We're going to say when x is increased. So that's the opposite of decrease. So increase, I'm going to add. So we're going to say, okay, if x plus 4, the result, that means an equal sign, is equal to the number divided by 7. So that same number, so we're going to use x again. So we're going to go x divided by 7. Okay? So when a certain number is increased by 4, the result is equal to that number divided by 7. Okay, so this one is a weird problem here. All right? First off, I got to get rid of that divided by 7. To get rid of that divided by 7, I need to multiply by 7. So my first step is to clear those fractions. But guys, here's the weird part. Something I haven't seen before. Since I'm multiplying this side by 7, I have to multiply this entire side by 7. In other words, I have to multiply each thing by 7 and distribute. So I'm going to take that 7, we're going to distribute it there. We're going to end up with 7x plus 28 equals x. Okay? So we're going to get 7x plus 28 equals x. Now I can get my x's together. Minus 7x to both sides, we're going to end up with negative 6x equals 28. Then I'll divide both sides by negative 6. And we're going to end up with this weird answer of x equals 28 divided by negative 6. Well, positive divided by a negative, I know it's going to be negative. Then you could write your answer as a decimal, and that's okay. I can't do the decimal math in my head, so let me grab that one and see what that one would be. 28 divided by 6 would give me 4.666666 repeating. Okay, don't write that out there, so I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. And I'm just going to leave it as negative 14 over 3. And that'll be our solution there. Okay? Very simple. It's okay to have fractions. Fractions are not scary. It's okay to have answers that are fractions. They still count. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 5. Number 5. This time, this one is weird because this is different than the question on your notes. That's okay. This question is the one that I really want us to focus on because we're going to be clearing out this fraction. I wanted to focus on that. So go ahead, cancel out the one that's on your notes and write this one here instead. Okay? All right, now, this fraction, I want you to notice how those two denominators are the same. They both have a denominator of 3. So we can clear both of those fractions out at the same time. Okay? So all I have to do is multiply everything by the denominator. How do you clear a fraction? You multiply everything by the denominator. Now remember, the denominator is just the thing that is on the bottom. Okay? So multiply everything by the denominator. So we're just going to multiply everything by 3. We're going to multiply by this by 3, cancel that out. Multiply this whole fraction by 3, cancel that out. Multiply that x by 3, we're going to end up with 3x. So I'm going to have 3x plus x plus 9 equals x. Now I can combine my terms. 3x and x make 4x. So I'm going to end up with 4x plus 9 equals 1x. Now, I want my x's all on one side. I want my 9 on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 4x here, minus 4x here, we're going to get negative 3x equals 9. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3 to get that out of the way. And we're going to get our answer of x equals negative 3. If you prefer to rewrite this like this, that's okay. X equals negative 3, just like that. There's our answer. Now, the important part about this problem is understanding how to get rid of those denominators by multiplying everything by it. Whatever is on the bottom, just multiply everything by it and it'll cancel it out. Take a look at number 6. Number 6, what is 9 times y? If 4 less than 3y is equal to 11. Well, what is my question asking for? My question is asking for this. What is 9 times y? So it wants to know what is 9 times y. And then it says, what is 9 times y if, and then it's going to tell me what y could equal. It's going to say if 4 less, so 4 less means I'm going to minus 4, so 4 less than 3 times y is equal to 11. So here, I need to solve for that y. To do that, I'm just going to add 4 to both sides. We're going to get 3y equals 15, and then now divide both sides by 3, and we're going to end up with y equals 5. Now guys, just like those first two problems, we're not going to, that 5 is not my answer. What I need to do is take that 5 and plug it back in, okay? So I need to take that 5, plug it back in to find out what 9y is, okay? That's what I need to do. So we're going to take that 5, plug it back in, and we're going to end up with what is 9 times 5. That's for a question, and so my final answer is going to be simply 45, okay? All right, number 7, this is our last one. Number 7, a pin floating in the weightlessness of space is 30 inches above the ground, the floor of the space capsule and is rising at 1.5 inches per second. In how many seconds will it reach the 6-foot high ceiling? If I can read. Look, seconds. We're going to use S to represent those seconds. Okay? So I'm going to use an S to represent seconds. Okay? So then it's asking, we're going up 1.5 inches per second. We started off at 30 inches above the floor, and it's going to ask how long until we reach the 6-foot high ceiling. Now, I can't just write a 6 there. I'm going to need to convert that 6 feet into inches. So I'm going to instead change that 6 feet to inches. I got to go 6 times 12. 6 times 12 is 72. So we're going to end up with a 72 there. Now all I have to do is solve. So I'm going to minus 30 here, minus 30 here. You get 1.5s equals 72 minus 30 is 42. And then we're going to go 42 divided by 1.5. And we're going to end up with S equals 28. So what's my answer to the problem here? How many seconds will it take for it to reach the top of the ceiling? It's going to take 28 seconds. Okay? All right, here's some key words for us. Product, different, quotient, and sum. Okay? Now remember, product is multiply, difference is subtract, quotient is division, and sum is addition. So, a few things for us to remember as we go into our skill builder for this lesson. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, guys.